this toxic relationship, dysfunctional family. And then I want to get a little bit about what's inside of that book. And I'm going to put the show notes in the details, guys. I'm going to put the book details in the show notes so we know how we can actually pick it up and connect with Dr. Rita. But Dysfunctional Family, based off of hearing you speak, it sounds like a lot of what you're talking about, that's like the foundation of some of these challenges we're having with empaths, narcissists, toxic relationships. Is that true?
Very much so. We learn how to experience the world around us, what's safe, what's not safe, how we interact with people growing up. So by the time we're 18, even before that, it's like we have some well built-in programs, kind of like a computer program, that dictate how we interact with ourselves, how we interact with other people. And so if you're brought up in a loving, supporting, nurturing environment, then that's what you're going to expect in your other relationships. But if you grow up in a family where it sucks, then you're really not going to expect too much.
And do too much too, right?
Potentially. And that's one of the parallels that you find in people that tend to be very empathic and very narcissistic, is that they both come from families of trauma. For the most part, that's really my assessment. The empath uses that skill or hones that skill because, mom's drinking again. And now I have to be careful because, she's going to that place and I can tell, and to kind of ward off evil. And a narcissist, scientifically, they've identified that, many come from, having severe trauma growing up. It's just they don't deal with it in the same way.
Okay. Can a narcissist have you ever seen someone go from a narcissist to not being a narcissist? Because some people say it's curable, some people say it's not.
I think that it depends on where they are on the spectrum. It is hard work. One of the things that's required to heal yourself of being dysfunctional, thus not getting into dysfunctional relationships, et cetera, is really going inside and looking at yourself, and identifying what's going on with me and why am I reacting this way, and can I modify who I am and what I'm doing to present in a more healthy way. Individuals that are narcissists really aren't interested in looking, and they aren't really interested in fixing it. And so even though my book, The Dysfunctional Dance of the Empath and Narcissist, says narcissist, it's like, it doesn't necessarily look at them in a very bright way. And my feeling is that probably not one would ever read it. And if they did read it, they would say, oh, that's so-and-so and not me. It's not me. It's this other person. That's my boss. That's this person, but never really relate it to them and their experience.
Wow, that's interesting. So you feel that if a narcissist was to read your book, The Dysfunctional Dance of the Empath and Narcissist, you don't feel that they'll connect to it like, wow, I do that. Well, that's me.
Not really.
No?
Not really. Maybe somebody that was really interested in changing, maybe someone who that has been brought to their attention over and over again, that they finally got, the message, well, maybe this is something that I need to do, but just on a casual basis, no. People that are empathic, however, tend to always are working on themselves, and there's always this level of self-improvement and this level of self-growth that they're looking to attain, and so they tend to be the more ready ears for this message.
Is there do you have like a checklist on, like, even if it's a short check, is there a checklist in this book where I can identify, there's a few things I can ask myself, like, if I am a narcissist?
I didn't even think to do that. I don't have a checklist in the book, but it goes into a lot of detail about their behavior. The point for me writing the book was to help people that constantly find themselves in toxic relationships to heal themselves. But, someone that's a narcissist, so one of the characteristics, of someone being a narcissist is when their relationship ends, they just, move on. They don't do any self-assessment. They don't try to figure out what they've learned. There are stories where a relationship ends and by the next day, the person is involved with somebody else. They've moved in with somebody else by the end of the week, and then it's devastating to the former partner to find out. It's like, wow, did you just not care about me that much that you can move on in a week? But they just don't process in the same way. And so there's they don't feel remorse. They don't, I'm not a narcissist, so it's a little hard for me to relate to that mentality. But from a person that's an empath or someone that is interacting with one of these people, there are just telltale signs and behaviors that it was fascinating. I have to tell you, it was fascinating researching this material because there's vocabulary for some of the crazy freaking things that these people do. And it's like, oh, well, what's this? And you look it up, it's like, oh my God. I swear to God, there were some things that I discovered that I didn't even know.
Like what? What's something?
Okay, so there's a concept called gaslighting. And so in general, it is that they want to make you kind of feel like you're going crazy, So if they say, if something happens and you go, well, did you do that? They'll say, no, I didn't do it. Well, you must have done it, and just, there's a certain level of denial. I'm kind of really simplifying it. Mm-hmm. But it really makes you crazy. So true story. So I live in a 2-story house and I had a pair of summer shoes that were sitting on the bottom of the stairs, and it was summer. So I was like, well, do I want to take them upstairs or do I want to just leave them on the stairs and I can just slip them on if I want to go out? And so I came down one day and one shoe was missing. It takes one shoe. So I'm looking around because I already knew that the guy I was with did something with my shoe. So I'm looking under the sofa and looking here and looking. I looked everywhere. And I said, well, where's my shoe? Well, I didn't take it. And I'm like, well, the choice is that you took it or the dog took it, which I had a toy poodle. The dog wasn't taking anything. And he's like, no, I didn't take it. You must have lost it. And he just put it all back on me. You did it, you did it, you did it, you did it. You lost your shoe. Okay, so embarrassing as this is to say, so about 6 months later, I was doing a really deep cleaning and I took everything off this bookcase and was dusting everything. And I found my shoe behind some pictures that were on the bookcase. Mm. It's like, hey, I found my shoe. Oh, I must have, set it there when I answered the door. It's like, why would you set it behind pictures in a bookcase?
And one shoe.
One shoe that he didn't do anything with. You know what I mean? It's just like psycho stuff. And I thought he was just really psycho until I read about gaslighting. And it's like, holy crap. He's not the only one on the planet that does that.
And it's always very subtle things. That's funny you said the one shoe. It's always subtle. It's not like nothing big usually.
Well, and it's upsetting to the person that's looking for the one shoe. It's just, and he could have just said, oh, it's over here. Because it wasn't even like it was weeks and weeks before I noticed the shoe was missing. It was, the next day I went to put the shoes on. I came downstairs and there was only one shoe. So, how do you forget something like that so fast? Mm.
It's very interesting. I'm sure people can actually relate to this, especially when you're talking about this topic. So let's get to the book, The Dysfunctional Dance. Why did you write the book? And I'm curious to know why did you put the dance part in there? What do you mean by the dance?
Okay. So I wrote the book. Okay. So the guy that hid the shoe, that relationship ended, and that's kind of the point where the Band-Aid came off. And so I'm kind of a consummate researcher. So this book is book number 6 for me. And I was doing my own research. I was doing my own homework to heal me. And I was just uncovering all kinds of stuff and all kinds of material. And I felt like it was important for me to, it's not a memoir, but kind of document my journey of discovery to support other people to discover themselves so that they don't have to recreate this situation in their life over and over and over. Because many times it's like people will get into a relationship and the relationship fails and their knee-jerk reaction is to blame the other person, for what was going on. And we don't think to look at ourselves. One relationship is one thing, but when you're working on 3, 4, 5, 6, where you seem to have the same situation going on this over and over and over again, then maybe it's not that you're attracting them. Maybe there's something going on in you that is either attracting them or, as one, I think Lisa Romano stated, was you're letting them stay. So as far as the dance, there is a tete-a-tete that happens between, and I'm going to say a wounded empath, because that's usually what happens, and a narcissist, in that the empath, just because of their need to heal. Okay, so when you get into that, like, I need to fix you part, you're kind of moving into codependency. There's a certain level of wounding within the person that needs to be healed, because then it's just like, I don't care. And so a narcissist looks for those kind of people. And so the dance is that the empath wants to give and wants to co-create and wants to give. And the narcissist is more than happy to take. And the more the empath or more the narcissist wants to take, the empath is happy to give. And so it just becomes this very dysfunctional, funky relationship that happens, where it might start off in one place, but given enough time, it might start off in that kind of 50-50 place, but given time, it will slowly progress until you're in that, 80-20, 90-10 situation. And, they basically have sucked the life right out of you.
And you're saying it's usually around 90-10.
I'm just saying it's not always 90-10.
Not always, but you can pretty much.
It can. And I think the other big sign, kind of going with those numbers, I've been in some 90-10 relationships. I've been in some that weren't quite so bad, 80-20, 70-30. But where it becomes noticeable, how's that, is, okay, so I'm in this mode of I'm doing the 70-30 or 80-20, and I'm okay with it because I have a lot of energy and I like to do stuff, and that's just me. But now I'm sick. I hurt myself, I have the flu, whatever it is, and I'm laid up in bed, and I'm not able to cook dinner. I'm not able to do these things. In a healthy relationship, your partner will work to kind of fill that gap, fill some of the gap, fill any of the gap. If it's a dysfunctional relationship, you might get a dinner. You might get like a little nugget of something, but you're still left to having to take care of everything. So now you're sick and